Don't ever try and put two idle wigs into one. That would be an insane amount of hair. G'day and welcome to the third episode of Breakdown Wednesday, the show in which I take a cosplay character, design, anything like that you guys have suggested to me, and I break it down as if I was going to create it. And then at the end we have a bit of a discussion about whether or not if I made this, it would break me down. And today we're doing Cardia from Code. So I believe that this is a game. I actually don't know anything about this character, and I've kind of done that on purpose so that I am completely unbiased about the way that I'm approaching this character, and I'm going based purely on what I'm seeing. So it is Code, realized guardian of Rebirth, and the character's full name is Cardia Beckford. So here she is. This is what she looks like. Beautiful, beautiful outfit, and I am excited to break her down. So let's get cracking. So the very first thing, let's talk about her hair, shall we? So the wig is just a straightforward, normal brown wig, a nice mid-tone brunette, and a few curls put into the back of it just to kind of give it some lift and to make it, you know, light and airy. You can find these types of wigs everywhere. So AliExpress is going to be my first place that I go for wigs. And if you want that beautiful, full and luscious hairdo, I would always say maybe get two wigs and weft them together, and then you get that real anime look. Unless you do something like an idle wig, which is already very, very full. Don't ever try and put two idle wigs into one. That would be an insane amount of hair. For the headpiece that we've got here, this is an interesting one. I'm pretty sure I've seen headbands like this available as a base that you can get off AliExpress. But if you don't want to wait for that to come or anything like that, you could do this as a three kind of wired kind of headband going across. Sorry about the dogs, they've got comments to say as well about this. And then we actually have two sides. So on the left side, we've got like this metal kind of plate, almost like a little circle with like maybe prongs or something. And on the other side, we've got like a little shield with some fabric that comes down on it. So I would either find some sort of metallic base, like a metal filament, I think it's called, off like AliExpress or eBay or Amazon or something like that, to do that. Otherwise, if you can't find a metal filament, okay, you will need to maybe make it out of foam and then paint it up, or warbler. That would also work absolutely fine as well. For this one, for the shield as such, what I would say is very similar, either foam, warbler, or a metal filament, but then have like the ribbon underneath. So ribbon or fabric, and you'll just need to connect that. But other than that, her wig and her headpiece, not that complicated at all. Then let's move down, shall we? So I always seem to do this. I start with a wig and then I'm like, okay, from the bottom up, let's go. So for the bottom, we have some amazing boots. So these boots are, you know, a high heel boot, but they're not insane. And they are boots that literally come up over the knee. So there's a few ways that you could do this. You could either find a base shoe that does that and then cut out this front section, and then you'd need to make sure that you clean up your edges very nicely. Or alternatively, what you would do is create a boot cover, which I have a tutorial about on my channel, totally plugging myself, that you could make and actually connect them to the pants so that they stay up. And you could do that with the belts if you wanted to. So different ways that you can do it. For me, probably I would try and find a boot that is a good base and then cut that out and then finish the edge. But it would all come down to time and money because boots this high are really cheap. Usually they are very, very expensive, and I would have to order them like specifically online, and then I still have to alter it. So I can understand why you may want to do like a boot cover and make it up to that sizing, and that would be absolutely fine. So I'm going to say either here, so alter an existing boot, or boot cover. If you do the boot cover, okay, what I would say is that you would need to ensure that it is going to be secure. And these belts here, there's nothing to say that they could not be functional belts. So I would do these as proper belting, okay? And, you know, make sure that they are firm, good straps, use belting material, and even connect the top of the boot with the belting. You know what, let's make our lives easier. Let us definitely do the boot covers and then have the top as the belting. And then this other belt, so it's a 2-belt system. The bottom one would be connected to the boot cover, and the top belt, I would have that as a separate one that is just kind of floating, to be honest, because I don't really see why you would need to have 2 belts at the top. They may pull against each other. So I'd probably just have that one as a decorative one, to be honest. The pants underneath are leggings. So just some brown leggings, which you can make or buy. Brown leggings. Okay. This little detail down here on the boot, sorry, I would say that looks to me like a little metal piece or something. I would just make that out of foam, maybe cover it with Warbler so it's extra strong, and I would just glue that directly onto the boot cover. That's all fine. Okay, we're happy with that. Let's keep moving on. So let's talk about this skirt. I love this skirt. And the person who asked me to do this said to me, I do not get the skirt. Please help me. I got you. This is exactly how I would do it, and I love a good ruffle, and I love all of this. So yes, let's do this. So let's start with this like kind of front section of the skirt, because it's actually 2 parts. There is this front section of the skirt, which looks like it's a dual layer of like a ruffle, which then connects to the larger skirt, which is on the back, and there's the back image. So for this, what I would do is, this is just 2 flounces, nothing crazy. Top one especially nothing crazy, that's just a straight skirt that's ruffled down, and remember here's the waist. Okay, so connect to the waist, ruffled down. The second one would need to be ruffled in the center here, a little bit longer, but then on the sides, you would actually need to cut it so that it goes down. So if here is your ruffle, that's your front center, right? You'd need to cut it so it goes like that. And then when you ruffle it down, it will give you that kind of image. So with that, because that lower ruffle and also the side actually gets sewn into the side of the big skirt. Okay, we'll get back to the bows and that. Let's just figure out the construction of this skirt. Now, underneath we can see is this beautiful kind of dark blue ombre kind of look, and I would do this in probably like a really decent cotton, like something very sturdy, because this is going to be your main base kind of structure. And the way that I would do this is, okay, stay with me on this one, is that the lining, okay, that comes around here is one piece going up to the waist. And then there is the ruffle, okay? So the lining layer would be simply the skirt as the base structure point, and that's going to be, you know, an A-line going down. And it's going to be just, and why I'm saying cotton is because cotton doesn't stretch. It's a good base. Okay, and you've got an A-line coming down, okay? And then also you have the lining also cut out for the ruffle at the bottom. However, these puff things, right? This is where it gets fun. This is one skirt, that's another skirt. So there's a shorter layer here. Forget the ruffles for a second, okay? Forget the ruffles. What you have is you've got one skirt that comes in, but then this bottom one connects directly at that seam there and comes out. What you can do, and so this will create a bagging effect, okay? But before you connect this one to this one, you also need to sew into the seam a ruffle. And this ruffle is the only one that is not like connected anywhere else to the lining or anything or anything else. It's just there. It's just decoration. And so this ruffle, you would sew it into the seam in between the top skirt and the bottom skirt. And you just sew it all together when you're doing the outer fabric, because you're not connecting the lining until afterwards. The other thing that I would do is for the bottom here and the bottom here is, before I connect it all up together, I would put some tulle around on the inside. So sort of like an interlining, I would put that around there to create that shape. And you could even like sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Tuck it into place. You could do like a little bit of a hand tuck and just secure it in slight positioning in the actual seam of here and here for the bottom ones. So it's not going to shift around when you're actually wearing it and the costume is fully done. And so you've got those pieces all together. Now, because it's all open, what you do is you simply sew down as like a big rectangle almost. So you put right sides to right sides. So the outside fabric, here is what the world wants to see, and here is the lining fabric, and that's what you see when you're wearing it. So these are the wrong sides. You kind of flip them together and sew around the outside. It works in my head. And essentially then you turn it right side out, and then from there what that means is that you just have the waist seam being the one that's raw and open. And that will mean that the ruffle here is free flowing and it's absolutely fine, exactly how it should be. And everything is working out. So from there, you might not be able to sew here because you'll need to connect that to that. I mean, you might be able to. Anyway, but yeah, essentially what you do then is at the waist, you would then finish that off with a very strong and sturdy waistband, and definitely make sure that is interfaced or it has like Petersham tape or something in there that's going to be really, really strong, because this will get quite heavy, okay? And obviously you have the little skirt connected to the bigger skirt, and then everything's fine. I hope that made sense. I really hope that made sense. It does for my head. But basically, it's about breaking down which part of the skirt is like the main skirt and then which one is the add-on skirt. So main skirt is the longer one, and then the kind of detail kind of feature piece is that top one. And it's just there to look pretty, okay? As for the bow, I would not connect the bow to the skirt. even though it looks like it is, I would actually connect that to the bottom of the bodice. So before we move on, just quickly, these are just ribbons that have bows tied into them. Make sure that you find the right ribbon to do that. And you simply make the bows and make sure that you sew through the bows so they don't unravel, and then sew them directly onto the points of the cosplay. Now, moving on to the bodice. So we've got this beautiful underbust long line kind of corset that's happening here. There are a number of patterns that you could use, and we've got some very cool kind of steampunky closures in the busk there. So that's fabulous. This needs to definitely have a mock-up because it's well fitted, and you've got the detail piecing on the side here, which is, you know, basically when you're sewing the corset, you just need to put those on before you connect essentially the side pieces to the back piece, because it's a very, very basic corset. You've got your two front pieces, two side pieces, and then you've got your back piece, which has no seam line in the back. For boning, you definitely have your boning next to the busk, or rather the busk itself is boning because metal busk. And then you've got your boning along the side here, down the back here, and I would say it wouldn't hurt to have two more just running down the back there as well. And then, and of course, we've got the straps that then go up over the shoulders, and that you could do out of like a faux leather. For this, I would probably do it as a faux leather as well, to be honest, or I would do it in like a cotton drill. It just depends on, you know, what the character is like. I'm getting very steampunk vibes with this particular one, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Then we've got this cool kind of like holster thing that's on top of the bodice. So the bodice is just like a long sleeved normal bodice. It looks like it's probably buttons down the front with this cute little cravat thing happening with another one of the bows there. Long bell sleeves, which are fantastic. And then we've got the cuff. So I would make this out of like a cotton or something like that. I'll just make a note here that this one is like a, like either a drill or a leather, just depending on how you want to make it. I would probably use the same fabric that you use in this in the outer layer of the fabric of the skirt. So cotton is a fantastic fabric, just saying. I think it's wonderful for cosplay, and it will also breathe. And when you are covered from head to toe like this cosplay, it's probably a good idea to make something that is breathable. For the kind of harness, once again, you're going to use either leather or the same sort of fabric that you've used for the boots, and you have the same strapping on the side and the same buckles, and that goes up into the neck piece as well, which is super lovely. And then finally, we've got the gloves. So the gloves, I would say you could either make them out of like a faux leather or a suede. Ooh, a suede would be nice. Or you could buy them. If you don't feel like making them, buy them. Yeah, but that is how I would make Cardia. It's a very cool design. In terms of whether or not I would make this, probably not just because I don't know the character, but I do really like the design. I think it's very, very cool. I love the steampunk vibes that this is giving me, and I don't think that it would break me. I think I've made cosplays that are kind of similar to this, so I reckon I could make this without it causing too much of a headache for me. But yeah. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. In the comments below, tell me what you think about this design. Tell me if you know this character and if I am correct in thinking it's probably steampunk related. And don't forget to tell me who you would like me to break down, maybe in a future video. Alright guys, like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. I'll see you next Wednesday for another one of these, and stay tuned for my regular Saturday content. Thanks for watching. Bye!